Let's have a prayer. You want to say it?
I haven't said a prayer for so many years.
So do you want to do it? I'll say it.
Yeah,
you go ahead. Go ahead.
You go for it. Our Father in heaven, we're very grateful to gather here and be here with friends, talk about life experiences, things that we've struggled through, things that you've helped us through, things that we're grateful for. We ask a blessing that we all might feel peace throughout this experience and find it effective in helping us process further and share our knowledge and experience and love with others. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thanks, bro. Needed that.
God, for not having done it in years.
Is that all right?
Easy.
Yeah. You really, so you don't have any prayer going?
No, dude, I don't. I have a hard time praying for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, dude. With it.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll die in an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time praying because, dude, I don't know what it is. It's like a complex for me. It's hard.
Like, why? Just because, like, maybe you don't believe that there's someone there?
Well, no, it's not necessarily that. It's like I have my own interpretation of what like a higher power is, but that's even less important than the fact that I do know how powerful prayer is and like speaking, like your intentions and stuff. Like, so I don't know what it is, dude. I don't know if I feel like I'm not worthy of the help.
Yeah.
Something. I have it might be that. Not sure.
Well, maybe that was your first prayer. Maybe you want to keep going.
Yeah, I probably should.
That was good. I thought it was good.
That was special.
I can't rip one off like that. I can't tell you the last time I said a prayer out loud.
I had no idea what
You're
was
not a
gonna
prayer.
happen.
Dude, I defer to the kids every year at Thanksgiving. It's never me that says a prayer.
Really?
Ever. No.
I haven't been asked to say a prayer for some time. I haven't said one out loud for years, bro. Straight up.
Yeah.
Way to step up. I liked it.
Gonna be live.
Yeah, I think it was.
I liked it.
Maybe that was important.
So you don't do it. So I get asked to say the prayers like Christmas and stuff. And
I don't do it.
are you worried about how you sound?
Just not confident in what the heck to say.
Yeah.
Like even when I'm by myself and I want to pray or something, want to get down on a knee, like clueless on what the hell to even say.
Yeah.
And it is, I definitely know that there's someone up there. And I believe in God, in Jesus. Right. Just don't know what to say to him.
Can't you just talk to him like you talk to me?
Sure.
I mean, I know you're speaking to deity, but like, can you just be like, thank you for this railroad gig. What a gig. Like, how did this happen, God? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. I'm sure I could.
You're like I don't know. How is that job going?
It's going.
Tell me about the scenery.
Scenery's cool. Ogden, the Green River, going up that canyon, Morgan, Echo, Evanston. Like, as long as we're going a little bit faster than 8 miles an hour, like, it's cool. Daytime trips are cool. Beautiful scenery going up there, wildlife, deer, elk.
Wow.
Like, it's cool.
Well, the reason I ask is because those pictures you sent me, where you're standing outside of a train and remote.
Right.
So you
always stopped when I'm taking pictures, by the way. Phone's never on while we're working. Phone is never on while we're working.
Yeah. Okay. My bad.
Never on.
But so the scenery, I mean, you're liking getting on that train and going for 8 hours.
It is what it is,
and
right?
I mean, you're sitting there. There's no phone. I mean, no breathing.
Nope.
You got to be present.
Yeah. It's either, conversation with an engineer, which you hope you get a decent one and can come up with stuff to talk to for, anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. But it's also finding the good in it, right? I mean, that could be lame as hell or boring as hell, just sitting there, same tracks each time, same route, whatever. Or I choose to look out and take Mother Nature in, going over that causeway. I mean, it's just a salt lake, but it's cool. One side is all blue and the other side is red as hell, like due to the salt content or whatever, makes this one blood red or bright red.
Really?
But then on this side of the tracks is glistening blue. And it's cool, right? Wow. Cool landscapes, mountains. We see some of the coolest sunrises and sunsets, like stuff you kind of wish the wife was in the other seat and not just some other dude, right? Yeah. To share this moment with. But I mean, it's, that's a decent part of the job is, I find beauty in the scenery and stuff around us. So,
yeah, I've always appreciated that about you. You've really gotten into like you're the way you see the world is pretty powerful. Like you're so positive, and you know what I mean? That this with that job, like I hear you talk about it when like that night you hit me up, I don't know, it was like 3 weeks ago and we BS'd for like an hour around 9 o'clock at night, and I think you were in Green River or something.
Right.
Had just got done hitting a meeting and then working out. Like,
yeah.
I like how you're a railroad cat, but live in recovery.
Right.
And that's just cool.
Well, that's cool, right? Because the one thing I can't stand when I'm out of town is just sitting in my room. Like, cannot stand sitting in my room. Sleep for 8 hours and then wake up and sit in your room until your phone rings and you're back on a train? Like, no. Get me the hell out of my room. And so the cool thing is, Green River, 2 meetings every day, 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night. So it really doesn't matter what time I get in there. Like,
you go to a meeting.
I go to a meeting. I go to an AA meeting.
That is wild.
Why? Because
not wild,
right.
Not wild. Just knowing you. You know what I'm saying, and how far you've come. So have you met a little community out there that you love? Like,
there's a cool little group, and it's surrounding myself with like-minded people. Right? They got the same 24-hour goal that I do.
Yeah.
To get through the next 24 hours without having to pick up a substance or drink or what, and it's just cool. There's some people with some good time out there with some long time, and then some with a little bit less. And there's been an occasional newcomer and stuff. And I still just, I love the newcomers.
Yeah.
It's,
I love that about
I look
you.
at it both ways, right? Like, if they're struggling or having a hard time and look beat down and stuff, like that's a constant reminder that could be me in a week.
Right.
If I choose to pick up a drink, if I choose to, put a substance in my body, well, I know the way the last relapse worked, right?
Yeah.
By day 4, I was as bad as my last day 10 years prior. So I love the newcomer because it's a constant reminder, like, dude, I'm a drink away from being just like him.
Yeah.
I'm a substance away from very shortly being just like him.
Yeah.
And, it's cool. And that's why I share often and stuff, because I love when you open yourself up and share a little bit in these meetings or whatever, and have that newcomer come up to you.
Yeah.
Or even, I won't say cooler, but just as cool, having someone with 15 years come up to you and like, dude, I like the way you look at stuff.
Yeah.
I like that, and it's fun. It's just fun to share what works for me and take, hear other people sharing stuff. And because I'm constantly, right? I won't say that recovery has gotten monotonous, right? But at times it has. So I'm constantly looking for new stuff to incorporate, trying new stuff, right? Because the one thing I don't want to do is get bored.
Punching the clock, like
Yeah.
just punch,
Yeah.
like, and that, bro, that's what happened to me. I mean, I'd say the last year and a half, even prior to me, this relapse past March, I was punching the clock up here, like, you know, not really into it, not really caring, like just kind of going through the motions of just life and getting all my stuff done, but just, you know, and not really focused on really caring about helping people like I am, like I am now. I mean, I roll into SOAR now and I can't wait, you know?
Right.
And the thing that I have always loved about you is, you know, you're obviously not around as much anymore because of your job, but like
Damn
when you're,
work, huh?
when you're, when you're in town, bro, you come here and you want to help the newcomers. So you seek them out. I see you in the gym. You find the new people. You go and you work out with them and train with them and help them.
Right.
And then you roll into the classroom, and I don't know, like that's a good way to be, bro.
Oh, I remember when I first come in here,
Yeah.
you know, and having people do that for me. Right. And so why would I not? Like, I feel like it's my duty or my service to give back what was given so freely to me.
Yeah.
Right. And don't get me wrong, love the alumni, love that group. You know, I'm glad that we've grown to where we are, to where we have to have two groups.
Yeah.
And I love those people, love them. Right. I
Yeah,
I've
your best friends.
I've watched every single one of them get to where they're at. And, you know, that's cool. Like, that's freaking awesome. To watch them get up to 1, 2, 3 years sober, you know, and it's fun hanging out with them, but I get more out of the people early on.
Yeah.
Right? Like, alumni's heard my story 75 times.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not very good with coming up with new content or whatever. Like, my brain only holds so much, or I, you know, only got so much to give, I feel like. Right. But I feel like you know, I could just be of better service to the people early on and new.
Yeah, you are good with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're approachable and you're so friendly and kind. Yeah, it's a gift. It's a gift. I think it's a gift that you carry because, like, you look and you got that smile and you're just cool, and people feel, the newcomer feels comfortable around you, and you got that sick ass beard.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the only things. It's the only thing that grows anymore. So, you know, yeah, let it go.
Yeah, bro.
Coming up on the wraparound eventually, I think. Get some hair up top again.
Such a good looking beard, and you don't get any gray in it, really, just a little
Yes,
bit.
sir. I'm hanging on somehow.
Yeah.
But
So, I want to talk about the 90s, and I don't know. We both grew up in the 90s. What, you were a year older than me.
mm-hmm.
You went to Roy, I went to Bonneville. We hung around kind of the same crowd. And I love the 90s because I just look at these kids. You know, I'm involved with kids, right? Coaching and working with kids, and I just look at what they're going through. You know, the different life that they have compared to what we had. And you know, even the substance abuse. I mean, don't you remember when I first started smoking weed as a kid? Well, it was like my senior year after football season was the first time I really started taking myself out of reality. It was in high school. It was after football, and we all decided we wanted to start partying, you know?
Right.
But you just look at it back then, where it was like you had the bag of weed, and it was like, you know, stems and seeds, and then you smoked it, and you weren't just on the moon.
Right.
You know what I mean? You weren't just on the moon. It didn't last as long. And I just think, and then I think about that childhood that we had, and I'm not trying to glorify the substance abuse, but I would like to try to compare it, because these kids think that weed is okay, and it's just, yeah, they're getting so high.
Right. Well, when I think about comparison of our time growing up, right? And I started smoking weed quite a bit earlier than you, right? 7th grade
Really?
or whatever. Yeah. I mean, my best friend at the time, he had an older brother, and they were, they were into that stuff at an early age,
Right.
you know? And so got into it pretty soon. And then, you know, my parents kind of split and went their ways in between 8th and 9th grade. And I chose to go with mom.
Right.
And just had all the freedom in the world. Right. And mainly because, you know, single mom, 3 kids, working, rotating 12-hour shifts. And
Wow.
so there was, you know, when she was at home, she was asleep. And then when she was at work, it was 12 hours. And so our house was always the hangout, always
Really?
coming over to partake in whatever the hell we were doing at the time or what. But like my biggest comparison between when we were growing up and the kids nowadays, like, dude, I'm scared for kids nowadays. I can tell you this, you know, in junior high and in high school and stuff, like I would do whatever you put in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, I was up for whatever.
Right.
Right. And I never had a fear. I never had to fear dying.
Yeah.
Ever.
Right.
It didn't matter. Right. Weed, mushrooms, acid, like whatever the hell we were doing. God, even, you know, towards the tail end of high school or whatever, heroin.
Yeah.
Like I still never feared death.
Yeah.
Right. Well, nowadays, dude, you can't do heroin, Molly, ecstasy, coke, like, you know, with fentanyl being laced in everything, like it is a crapshoot. It's playing Russian roulette with the next substance that you take. And like that scares the hell out of me for the younger generation.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, luckily my kids, youngest one's 19, will be 20 in June. Right. And I'm glad. I mean, I know they probably dabbled in a little weed or
Right.
whatever. And maybe they've done more and haven't told me or what, but like, I'm kind of glad that they're already adults and moving on and getting into, you know, like being a responsible adult, getting into their careers and stuff
Right.
like that. And so hopefully the partying or the, you know, the curious phase is out of them.
Right.
Because I feel like I dodged a bullet with as dangerous as it is out there nowadays.
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy, bro. Like even with the weed, so it causes these kids to go into like, I mean, in the high school when I was at Ben Lomond, and then even here, we've had to call paramedics
Right.
for kids who are just, they think they're having a panic attack because they got so high. You know how that happens when you get really high on weed, like, and they're just a young kid and their brain can't handle it. And they're literally going into like a little psychosis because of weed. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta call the paramedics.
Dude, and a lot of those, the thing is, dude, is a lot of that THC is like synthetic now.
Yeah.
And so they're like, and there's synthetic like terpenes and stuff in them that make it flavored and shit.
Yeah.
And that shit straight up can give you seizures.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So yeah, we've had a kid to have a seizure.
Yeah.
Straight up emergency room, hospital, you know, psych ward, like from, you know, hitting those dab pens or whatever. And I mean, it's wild.
It's crazy. Just the potency of everything that's out there right now and the availability.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was easy for us to get weed and stuff, but our biggest concern when we were getting weed or smoking weed or whatever is, did you leave a freaking seed in the bowl? Right. Right. You light the bowl and seed pops or something. Like that was the biggest thing that we had to worry about.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's scary, you know. I know I partaked, you know, in my last little run or whatever, 5 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I smoked weed a couple of times, and being someone that, you know, out of high school and in my early 20s or whatever, like I was an all day, every day, wake and bake every freaking day.
All through your 20s you were?
Early on.
Yeah.
Yep. Early on I was, you know, until I got caught and into trouble and went to drug court in 2004. So that would have been 25 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I was from high school till I was 25. Yeah, it was all day, every day.
You tried heroin in high school?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty rare, isn't it? Like I never even heard of heroin. But I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I guess it was just
back then it seems like it was pretty rare, but maybe.
Right. I mean, it definitely wasn't as prevalent as
Right.
it is now by any means. But, you know, my best friend growing up, he was into any and everything and always had a lot of it. I mean, he's currently doing his second stint in federal prison, you know,
Right.
because he got caught a couple 5 years ago or whatever, 187 pounds of meth. Like, so
wow.
never, ever. And even in high school, you know, we'd go to some Mexican's house in Ogden or whatever and walk with them in their backyard as they dig up a pound of crank, right?
Back then it was called crank. Is that what meth was back then?
Crank was early, right? Crank was in the late 90s or whatever, mid 90s. And then I think it just kind of went away and meth become the speed. Right?
Oh, okay.
But
That's wild. So he was your best buddy.
best friend.
And so you just had access. So when you did heroin, did you get wrapped up in heroin back then or just,
No.
were you just smoking it,
Yeah, snorting it.
snorting it?
Yeah. And it was 2 or 3 times. And that was
Yeah.
it, you know.
Right. When was it that you got bit hard? Like, so you smoked weed, you keeping life pretty functional into your 20s. When was it?
Yeah, ish. I mean, Crank got a hold of me in high school. I mean, I think I went from, was it my sophomore year, the end of my sophomore year or whatever, is when I was introduced to Crank, right?
Wow.
You know, back then, a little line would keep you up 2-3 days.
Wow.
One little line of Crank would keep you up 2 or 3 days. You know, and just the hanging out with the older brother in that crowd and you know, partying with him or whatever. It was speed has grabbed a hold of me. Speed's my what grabs a hold of me and grabs my soul, right?
Does it make you productive? Like
for a day or two,
yeah.
maybe even 3, right? The first 2-3 days are fun. Like I'm getting bills organized, I'm cleaning my house, like just stupid stuff looking back on it now, but like I feel like I'm productive as hell.
Right.
But then, you know, just to keep that feeling going, well, I mean, once you've been up 4 or 5 days, you're not being productive. Like there's no way that you're being productive. Now you're just doing dumb shit, right?
Yeah, you just
taking apart this flat screen just to see if you can put it back together. And you never get shit put back together and working.
So there's just piles everywhere.
Yeah, just dumb stuff. And, you know, I think the draw for me on speed is just the staying up, right? Being able to party longer. Being able, you know, just going. Everything's fun until it isn't. And it always gets to where it's not. You know, and so I got wrapped up in Crank in high school and stuff. And I still remember, you know, one day, been up a week and a half or whatever. And mom comes home and kind of confronts me about something. And, you know, I pick up my freaking house stereo and throw it at her. And as soon as that left my hand, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, hey, you find a place, I'll go right now. Like, I'm sorry, let's go. Right. And so I ended up going to rehab in 97. So senior year or whatever.
Oh, wow. I didn't know this.
And, you know, went down to LDS hospital. I think I slept 5 out of the 7 days, but just kind of realized that, you know, that speed turns me into a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right. It turns me into an unproductive, just worthless human being.
Right.
Right. And so slept 5 out of 7 days, and didn't touch it again until like 03.
Right.
You know, so I had a good 5.5, 6 year period there. Well, then, you know, friends are doing it or whatever, and it looks appealing again. And, you know, once I try something, it's never, all right, well, let's go buy a 40 bag. No, it's, where can I get an ounce?
So you're still snorting it by this time?
Snorting it and smoking it.
Snorting it and smoking it.
Yeah.
And now it's meth. It's not Crank.
Now it's meth.
Moved into meth.
Yep. And once again, just kind of fun, right? It's to stay up longer drinking or whatever. It's, you know, at this time, 23, 24 years old or whatever. Just partying quite a bit, going to bars and stuff now.
Yeah.
Right. And it just looked appealing. It's fun. Stay up on a weekend longer or whatever, but it never stops at the weekend. You know,
Yeah.
it goes over into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know,
Yeah.
before you know it, it's Thursday, and I hadn't been to work since the previous Friday or whatever. And now all of a sudden work's not a priority, and this is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I can go grab a couple ounces and I should be able to make enough money to pay my bills.
Yeah.
No.
Just
Never, ever plays out, you know? And so go, hell, I don't know, a year and a half or whatever, ended up getting busted in 04 and getting into drug court, you know?
Yeah.
And I am smart enough, even no matter where I'm at in my life, to where when I get in trouble, I do what the hell they tell me for as long as they tell me to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you a couple other, give you a couple more months just in case they're still lingering around or what. You
Yeah.
know, so I think I completed drug court in a year and a half or whatever, right?
You stayed sober.
Yep, 100% completely sober, right? Because, I mean, I still remember the first time I went into drug court, and I didn't know what it was, really.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm high as a kite, go into drug court, stand up in front of the judge, and he's like, all right, well, we need you to give us a UA. All right, I'll just act like I can't piss, right? So go over, act like I can't piss or whatever, come back, sit down, get back up. Well, I see that you had a failure to produce. That's the same as a dirty. Bailiff, take him away, right? And so come, handcuffs you, and my ass was taken to jail.
Yeah.
I hate jail, dude. I hate jail, you know?
Yeah.
I like my freedom.
Yeah.
And so that was an eye opener, you know? And then they kind of released me to, at the time it was Page down here, just kind of I don't know if it was a halfway house or kind of like something where you kind of start out there until they see that you have somewhere that you can go and they'll release you or whatever. But, you know, just that, I think I was held over for the weekend or something in jail. And like, that was enough for me to realize, like, this is not where I want to be.
Yeah.
This shit's not fun.
Right.
Even though I know 5 or 6 people in here, it's
Right.
still, this is not where I want to be.
Yeah.
You know? And so get out. And like I said, I completed drug court with no dirties, no failures, no nothing. Like I completed it in the shortest time that you could,
Right.
you know, and graduated. And that was cool. And, you know, I was on that sober kick a little bit.
Yeah.
Not really a recovery, but just a hatred towards the drug.
Right.
Right. And then probably lasted another 6 months or so without doing anything. Well, then I remember the first night I had a beer. Right? Like, a beer sounds good. And I'm halfway through that first beer and look at the girlfriend now, or girlfriend then, wife now. But I was
Right.
like, God, I kind of want to smoke some weed. Right.
Yeah.
And so I remember going up to my buddy's house, taking my second beer with me or whatever, Michelob Ultra, going up to my buddy's house and smoking one bowl, some Chronic back then. You know, It's
Right.
probably dirt by today's standards, but
Right.
it was good weed back then or
Right.
whatever. And one freaking bowl. Come back home to our apartment and, dude, just spinning. A beer and a half and one bowl, like, got me spinning.
Like spinning, like
Spinning to where
Yeah.
it's wintertime. I'm laid out in my boxers on my living room floor, wintertime, sliding glass door open, fan on, telling the wife, like, just leave me alone. Like, leave me
Yeah.
alone or I'm going to puke, right? And
Yeah.
I hate puking. I've puked less than 10 times in my life.
Right.
Like, I can do whatever the hell I need to do to not puke.
Right.
Right. And so, like that. So that's where, and then even with that, like, I still went from 04 to 09, right, without doing speed. Now, that wasn't completely sober, right?
Right.
That after that night, it wasn't, all right, well, now I'm back to drinking and smoking weed every day.
Right.
No, not even close, right?
Right.
Because I was like, holy shit. Like that was, smoking weed that time was like the first time I ever smoked it again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's just not fun.
Right.
Like go into a store or whatever, kind of paranoid. Can they smell me? Or are they
Yeah.
looking at me like 7th grade all over again?
Right.
So, you know, I was productive up until 09 or whatever. Got back up on base. Good job. Everything. And then just started coming around some friends that, you know, were using speed, and it looked appealing again. And I should be able to do this on a weekend and be okay. No. A week later, 2 weeks later, it's a couple ounces in the pocket and off to the races. And the shitty thing about this little 12-month, 14-month stretch was, you know, that was the first time that ever shot up.
Oh, so now you're putting it in your vein.
Yeah. And before that was always against needles, right? Like associated needles with being a junkie.
Yeah.
And by golly, I mean, I may be not a good human being when I'm on this stuff or whatever, but at least I'm not a junkie.
Yeah. At least I'm not
Right?
shooting it.
I'm
Yeah.
not a junkie. But, you know, had someone shoot me up for the first time, and
What was the difference? Is it just right? Just
yeah, it's
not even the same thing?
not even close. Not even close.
That's scary, bro.
Yeah.
And so then that was your new way of doing it.
Yeah.
From that time forward.
Yep.
You don't go back after you do it that way.
Not really. You don't want to. I mean, I'll still smoke it or snort it, but that was definitely the preferred way of doing it, you know? So,
Yeah.
and like I said, and that goes for a good 12, 14 months again. Ended up getting busted, getting in trouble, getting into a program again, doing exactly what the hell they tell me to do for, you know, the allotted time that they asked to do it. And, you know, that time I made it from 09 to 19 without using speed and being productive.
Still drinking a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But
having a cocktail with your wife, or maybe partying a little bit, but just never doing hard drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were able to do that, huh?
I was.
Yeah. So the first time I did speed, I'll never forget this. I think is when I was playing pro ball, and we were playing, and I had the night off. We were playing this team, and this dude's throwing a no-hitter, and I'm down BSing with the pitchers and hanging out down there, and my buddy's like, "Here, bro, like take one of these Adderalls. They're amazing, like to play on, you know." And he'd playing the games on them, and
Right.
And so I took it, and bro, like I got so euphoric, and so then this dude's throwing a no-no, and so the coach is like, "Hey, I want you to pinch hit." So I go in, bro. The ball looks like a basketball. I'm just fouling everything off. I'm on fire. I'm just competing at the plate. End up hitting a double. You know, just feel amazing. Get second base, still third. You know, like, and bro, that's the last time I played baseball without taking Adderall.
Right.
So that's it. I was like, I figured out how to get a script. I figured out I've got this girl that had them that would sell me her entire script. You know what I'm saying? So like, that was it.
Here's your cheat code to playing baseball too.
But it just kept getting worse. Like, you know, then I started snorting them, you know. I had this whole routine before the game. Like I would take it at a certain time before the game, you know. I knew when I was going to eat, you know, I had to force myself to eat because it kills your appetite. So I'm just choking down these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and my mouth's all dry, and then going into the game. And then it got to a point where it's like, I need to take another one in the 4th inning, you know, and try to keep this going. And like, I had the worst season of my life that year. and I didn't even know it.
Right.
Like I remember like I was always a guy who could put the ball in play. As a leadoff hitter, I'm striking out. Like, you know, it was crazy. But I really didn't pay attention to it. Because I was so sped up. And then, you know, you couldn't wait for the bar scene. So I'd be standing in the outfield during the game and be like, just can't wait to go to the bar. And then you stay up later and can party more.
Yep.
So then I'm staying up, you know, and then, you know, sleeping in, and then Adderall to get me going to play again for the 7:00 game. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
then I ended up failing a drug test. That was dark. Never, you know, but I would say speed, me too, was the first thing that Adderall, taking Adderall is the first thing that, like, my first love of when it really wired my brain for like addiction. You know how, where you're just like, everything I would think about, like, I need to take this before I do this. That type of thinking started happening pretty heavy. Cause like even in college, you know, I did like opiates. Had that first surgery where I dislocated my shoulder and found out I liked opiates. And I was kind of the guy who would like, if like I remember this volleyball player, she had a surgery. And so like, this was my freshman year in the dorms. And I remember rolling up to her dorm and being like, hey, you get any pain pills? And she's like, yeah. And so like, that was the first time I started like seeking after, but even if I ran into a few pain pills, it wasn't like I was wrapped up in them. Like I'd go months and just be drinking and you know what I'm saying? But then I'd go live with these different host families in the summer. Like one summer I lived in Arlington, Virginia, and like I'd go to these different houses and I found myself looking through their cabinets.
Right.
You know, like that behavior started. And at the time I didn't know, like I was just like, I justified it. I'd be like, oh, they don't use these. These are old.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that type of behavior started happening. I remember I had another, and looking back on it, I see like the error in my ways, you know, like, wow, dude, you're rummaging through. I said this last night in group even, because we were talking about just like getting, like being honest. And even when I go into people's houses nowadays, like that comes into my head to look through their stuff, look through their cabinets. I don't, but it's just still there. You know what I mean?
I do. And it's one of those thoughts that we can't control.
Yeah.
I get that same thought.
Yeah.
Right. I get the same thought.
Right.
But luckily today I have the awareness of, you know, I can't control first thought.
Yeah.
Maybe not even the second or third.
Right.
By golly, if I haven't caught myself and switched my thoughts to something else, by the time the fourth one comes around, I'm probably in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. And I have the awareness that by the second, hopefully before the third thought even, like to change it up. Somehow, some way, think of something else. Like, you know, and
it's just, if I go through someone's cabinets today, that goes against everything that I'm trying to build within myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that goes against the values in my relationship with my higher power, like
in your own integrity.
in integrity.
Yeah.
But, and you know, with this last relapse with the kratom, it just went right back to that.
Right.
I would go through people's, you know, I didn't, because I could just go get my drug of choice at the gas station.
Right.
But like the same behaviors, the same justifications. I mean, me and Frank were talking last night and he's like, dude, you were doing, like, just pointing out some of the stuff I was doing, like, and it's just embarrassing. But, you know, I'm okay with it, but it's embarrassing that I went against the lifestyle that I'd been building for years.
Right.
And the values that I'd been building in my heart for years with everything that I was doing with the church and everything that my parents taught me.
Mm-hmm.
you know, but you put that substance in your system, your values become that substance's values, which is dishonesty.
Right.
You know, now I'm driving around, I'm lying where I'm at. Autumn's got to keep track of me on the little 360.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So
Because you've lost the trust.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Right.
I mean,
Lost the trust of people here. Like, you know, it was coming up on 6 months. Just feels amazing. Like I never been a dude who'd count days. You were always,
I know you do.
just wasn't. I was always, and I think the reason why I was so hardened against that is because I just knew maybe there was some back doors. Like,
I could see that.
I can smoke. I go to Wichita. One of the big ones is when I go back to Wichita with my buddies, I'm like, I'm going to party. But now, no, bro, I do not dare. I just don't.
Right.
If there's any dip in my mood from a substance, I guarantee the next day I'm going over to the Sinclair and getting my drug of choice that's on the shelves legally.
Right.
And and I can't stop once I get going on that.
We've seen that. We've seen that.
What is that? Is that just like, no, it's my phone.
Is it your phone?
I'll just turn it off. I mean,
Well, see, and so my question to you, right? And it's a back door,
yeah,
right? And I love the fact that the days are important now, right?
Yeah.
And I can tell you why they've always been important to me. I've earned every single day sober this time,
yeah.
right?
You're coming up on 5 years, right?
April 15th will be 5 years.
Wow.
Not a drop, not a pill. Like, this is by far the longest stretch with nothing
Wow.
since I was a teenager.
Since you were
12.
6th grade.
12. You know, and I take pride in that, right? Like, staying sober, it's weird. You can look at it both ways. You can look at it as it's hard or it's easy, right? Because an easy way out on a shitty day would be to mix up a strong cocktail
Yeah.
to not feel it that day or whatever.
Right.
Right. And I feel like I could do that today and not have to worry about having a needle in my arm tomorrow or picking up a substance tomorrow.
Right.
But, this is the first time that I've dove into recovery
Yeah.
and a recovery-based lifestyle and surrounded myself with people in recovery and just, and I relate recovery to, I've said this numerous times in groups here and stuff, like my number one goal in life today, and has been for the last 4.5, 5 years or whatever, right, is just to become the best human being that I can.
Right.
Right. And that's, with that being said, a cocktail doesn't help me get closer to that.
Yeah.
A substance doesn't help me get closer to that. Smoking a bowl. I think those three things right there, right? A cocktail or a substance, using in general, like that is a selfish act.
Yeah.
Right. And for me in recovery and trying to become the best person I can, like I get closer to that goal by being selfless.
Yeah.
By doing more service to others, by being there for others, right? Well, for me to be there for others, I got to be right with myself.
Right.
And so far, what I've found is like the best version of Chris that I know so far is a sober one.
Yeah.
Is a sober one, and then there's little things, right? Like if I had a cocktail tonight, you leapfrog me by 6 months in clean time.
Yeah, I hear you say this all the time.
Numerous people that I surround myself with and that I see on a daily basis, they all leapfrog me. And it's not that I'm not any better because I have more clean time, but I have something on them, right? Inside, I have something on them.
Yeah.
And I'm no better. I just happen to have started this journey a little bit earlier than they did.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I like that. You're a competitive dude, and that mindset works for you. Like, you know,
It does.
But you saying that to other people, I think that a lot of people respect that mindset. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't come off as you trying to say that you're better than them.
No.
It just comes off as like, dude, like, yeah, I got something.
Like,
man.
I know Frank knows, right? He's got 2 years and 5 days more than me. Like, I know he knows that if
Frank's got that's crazy. Frank's got
he's
7 years.
4'10", 18. I'm 4'15", 20. So he's got
Man, I really screwed up.
2 years and you were ahead of all of us, bro. You're ahead of all of us, right? And so it's not that, you know, Frank knows if he goes off and uses tomorrow, and I don't know if this cares to him or not, but then every time he sees me, he's gonna know that I have more clean time than him.
Yeah.
Now, whether that bothers him or not, who knows? But I know if I go home and drink a cocktail tonight, pick up substance tomorrow or whatever,
Yeah.
the next time I see you, I still love you, bro, but it's going to irk me that you have more clean time, right? Like, it's just going to bother me. And like I said, it's not I'm better than or anything. I like to, anything that I can use to get me through the rest of today.
Yeah.
Right. And so to me, in my mind, the fact known of how many people will leapfrog me or how much further ahead Frank will now be.
Yeah.
Right. If I go use today, now he's got 6 years, you know, almost 7 years more. Fuck, dude, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I think a lot of people listening to this will like that. You know, one thing Frank said to me, bro, that I've taken is he said to me, he's like, dude, it just wouldn't be worth it for me to even have a beer or anything because I just put my family at risk.
Mm-hmm.
He said that a long time ago, even when he was early in recovery, and I use that now. Like, I'm just like, dude, all right, you can go up and grab that bottle of Kratom, but you're putting everyone at risk. Like, this isn't about you. And dude, you know how
picking that up is you're making it about you. You're making that selfish decision.
Yeah.
Like,
you remember that when you remember, sorry to cut you off. You remember when I was talking to you on the phone and we were talking and I was in active addiction and you were like, we were talking about the kids. We were talking about my job and you're like, the worst thing the worst thing you could do and the most selfish thing you could do is go and be around kids high. And I remember getting off the phone. I was like pissed that you said that, but I wasn't like, I knew you were right.
Right.
But I felt like I was just like, hey, taking jabs. Everyone was taking jabs at me during that time. I felt like I was defensive.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know how you are like, but that was good stuff, bro. And I remember that. And like, I don't want to make that mistake again. God has given me a gift to work with people and kids. And I took that for granted going back out this last time.
Right.
And I'm thankful that I just went in. Like the best thing I could have done was go into treatment. Like just go into the school district like I did,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even as hard as that was, but I think it was, you know, and, I think it's going to set me back maybe in my career a little bit, like as far as like, you know, when job opportunities, not in the long run, but
right.
You know, maybe things aren't going to move as quickly for me, and rightfully so. I mean, I got to prove that I can stay sober and just, you know what I mean? And, but
I mean, it would have been worse if you were in a higher position and had this happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or if it just would have kept going and I wouldn't and got in trouble or something. Right. And like I took a bunch of kids down yesterday. I drove with them, you know? It's like you got to drive with, like, if I was in active addiction driving,
right,
you know, you just can't. Like, I don't want to be that.
Right.
But I appreciate those conversations and you always reaching out to me. And
well, and that's one magical thing about the people that we surround ourselves with today.
Yeah.
Right. This place.
Right.
Right. I don't want anything from you.
Yeah.
Right. There's no alternative motives to you and I being friends or anything. Like, I just want to see you succeed in life and become the best husband, father, friend, son that you can be. Right. And with that, well, if I can't hold you accountable, what fucking good am I to you?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's why I love, with my work schedule and stuff, where I used to be here every freaking day for years and years and years and years. Well, now, a week, 2 weeks go by and I haven't been here. Well, I love the texts that come in from people here.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in a bit. You good? Checking up, holding me accountable in a sense, and I mean, that's some cool friendships, some solid people that we surround ourselves with today.
The best friends I got, like the people who know me the best, and they'll just tell me how it is too, even though it stings. Like Frank called me the other day, and I was getting pissed off at Frank because, just when I was first getting sober again, and because every time he called me, he was just like, it was like he was my dad, and he was just telling me something about myself. It was like something I was doing or something, so I stopped answering. I like look at it. My heart rate would go up. Frank's calling up. Great. Frank's going to tell me something, but he called me the other day and we released that one short with Sherry. It was I just released it on my story, and it was of her talking about the psychedelics. Remember that part? And I didn't post it on the SOAR one or anything, but I thought it was an interesting one to get people to listen. And he's like, bro, like, that was good. Like that you guys talked about that, but like, what was the message? Like, what message are you putting out with that? He's like, if someone's listening to the whole episode, I get it. But like you work with kids, and I was at first I was like, Frank's messing with my art. Like Frank, like I wanted it, but then I thought about it and I was like, dude, he's right. You know what I mean? I gotta be, I mean, there's both sides of it. Like, and he admitted, but I just appreciated him having the balls to hit me up and tell me those things when, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I was, Frank, I worked with Frank and helped Frank get sober. And now he's this guy that I'm calling.
Right. Right.
When I'm in my head,
something that almost looked like promoting psychedelics or something?
Well,
just the clip.
Right.
Right.
He's like, you're making it kind of look like you were saying that it was a good spiritual experience to do mushrooms.
Right.
Which it wasn't. And a lot of people didn't take it that way. Cause then I called around but I think it was good advice that he gave me, and I'm going to take it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it come from a place of caring and looking after the place, and
he's looking after this brand and SOAR. Right. Like he's doing a good job. And
he's a stud.
Yeah, like, but what a wild ride. And I don't know, this recovery thing, like it's just better. I'm thankful for this last relapse for me because of it woke me up to the gifts that God's given me and the people, the platform that I have through this place to work with people. And I was taking that for granted.
Right.
And I think God was like, dude, you're not the guy I want working for me.
Right.
You
can be.
Yeah, you can be, but you're not doing it. And
right.
So it's time, I'm not saying, it's time for you to learn and wake up a little bit because you're not awake.
Right.
And
I know in recovery, right, you always hear that relapse can be part of the process.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll be the first one to tell newcomers and stuff, like, it doesn't have to be a process.
Right.
Because I think if you have that thought in your mind or whatever, like for me, it's kind of like leaving the back door open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everybody relapses.
Yeah, you know. But at the same time, like, just as you just said, I'm grateful as hell for my last relapse too. Right? I wish it wouldn't have lasted 12 months. I wish it wouldn't have caused the wreckage that it did in that 12 months. But, me getting into treatment and opening my eyes to new stuff, right? Mindfulness, meditation, hell, recovery in a sense, right? I am a much better person today due to my last relapse.
Yeah.
100%, you know, and I love the fact that,
And you wouldn't be here with us.
Right.
Like you wouldn't be leading all these people to change. And
right. Yeah. And it, you know, it helped me find this place. You know, would I still be sober today without this place? Maybe. Maybe. Right.
Yeah.
But I know by having this place and by keeping this place and the people involved in recovery at the forefront of my mind, like, dude, I don't see myself using a substance anytime soon.
Yeah.
No desire to, right? It's just the amount of things that have come around in a good way. The relationships that I've mended, the relationships that I've built with new people.
yeah.
The stuff that I've got back, you know, house and landing a good job and all that. Like that's all fruits of
Recovery.
me not picking up
Yeah.
one day at a time.
Bro, I loved how always loved. I talk about you a lot in there when you're not here to the new people I share, because everyone's always wanting the process to hurry up, right? Like we're getting a lot. You get a lot of this, and even in myself, and we all done it, of the self-pity. Like, why is this happening to me? I'm finally doing the right things, and now these hard things are happening to me. Why me? Like, God's not here. Like, he's not help. You know, they want this process to hurry up.
Yeah.
And the thing that I talk to them about you is like, dude, you're coming up on 5 years. I'd say the first 2 years of you're getting sober. I mean, I remember you talking about your financial situation and that hustle, and it wasn't easy. Like you didn't, but you never were trying to hurry anything up. It was like you knew, and that's the thing we got to continue to hammer into these newcomers is like, bro, like you haven't been playing in the game for this many years. What makes you think getting back into the game and gaining competency is going to be easy
Overnight thing.
overnight thing? Like you got to develop the competency to be useful.
Well, and even with the competency, dude, life happens.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Right.
Right. I mean, I feel pretty confident right now.
Yeah.
Dude, in the last week and a half, like I've seen 5 people that I know pass away. 5 people in a week and a half. You know, and one of them being the father-in-law, right? My wife's dad passed away 3 days ago.
Wow.
Right. And so shit's going to come up. Right. But I know, and it's been proven time and time again, like I'm more capable to be there for my wife and to handle shit as it comes sober,
Yeah.
you know, and that makes me feel good. That reassures me that what I'm doing is the right thing, right? I mean, if I was drinking or drunk or using substances or whatever, like I probably would be a shitty spouse in trying to comfort my wife in a time of need.
And she wouldn't believe you.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you were in a like, there's no there's no light.
Right.
She wouldn't believe it, you know?
And she deserves better than, you know, someone that's not.
Yeah.
Right. My kids deserve a father that can be there for them at the call of a phone, right? Rather than who the hell knows where he's at. Haven't seen him in a week and a half or whatever. Right. And so it's just, you know, the
Stepping into the game.
yeah. And, you know, and one thing too, like glad for the last relapse. Right.
What was the date? So what was the date when you went back out? Was it 2017?
No, it would have been 19.
It's 2019 that you went back out.
Yep. Probably early in the year 2019.
Yeah.
Something like that. And went all the way to April 15th, 2020.
Wow. So just over a year.
Mm-hmm.
What did it look like during that year? I don't even want to go down there, but like just what it looked like So you were just kind of there. You weren't working.
Well, I had a job until I didn't. Right?
Yeah.
And so that one bad decision on a Friday night, I can be in bed on Sunday and back to work on Monday. Like, yeah, by Thursday, I still hadn't gone to work and a couple ounces in the pocket and a box of rigs.
Yeah.
Right. And never went back to my job.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just,
man, that's wild. How long were you working there?
I mean, I've been up Hillfield like 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah.
You know, somehow, some way, I always land on my feet with a decent job.
Yeah.
Right. Now, knowing that, I'm not going to chance it anymore because the next time I might not be able to land on my feet. So I'm not taking this one for granted, you know. But I mean, that time was dark, man. It was dark. You know, having, you know, the 2 kids at home, which the previous time I was out running amok, they were 4 and 5 years old.
Yeah.
So they don't really remember that.
Right.
Right. And so for their whole life, I've been the good father, the role model dad, right? Coaching.
Yeah, you were coaching
the kid every year in football. I was a freaking cheer dad and bought into it and bought the shirts and attended every freaking competition in state or out of state that I could. You know, taking her from Far West to Farmington for practice a couple times a week or whatever. And so they had never seen, you know, the unproductive dad or the dad in addiction, you know. And so I think the hardest part, and I get it 100%, but during that time, like what was hardest for me was, you know, 2.5, 3 months into this run, like my kids no longer wanted anything to do with me.
Wow.
Like I would come home and just daughter hated my ass. Kid didn't want to fucking talk. Like
from in 3 months.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because in that 3 months, there was already a couple stretches of me not being home for a week, me not being home for 2 weeks, right? Just out.
And no one knowing where you're at.
The family not knowing where I'm at. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and just coming home and seeing that and feeling that and, right, poor me.
Yeah.
Like, all the shit I've done for you up until now, and now you want nothing to do with me just because I've been getting high for 2 weeks or 2 months, you know, like not getting it at the time and that pissing me off. And well, I ain't going to put up with this shit. So fucking shoot up and disappear for a week or whatever, right? Kind of drive by the house, see if anyone's there. And if they're not there, actually go home, shower, you know, hang out at my house for a minute until someone comes and then pick a fight and leave again, you know, just, and a lot of that was the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment, right? Of not wanting to be in front of my kids the way that I was.
Yeah.
You know, but even with that, like, rather than pulling my head out of my ass and doing what I need to do to earn back their respect and love and have them want me there, like, I just assume use and not feel.
Yeah.
Right?
Just keep it going because
just keep burying, keep digging that hole, you know, and it just, that's kind of how that went to 12 months. Like it was a whole lot of shame, guilt, not wanting to feel embarrassed. Like just.
Were you sleeping at like trap houses, just buddy's house, couch surfing, that kind of deal?
Yeah. Or coming home, sleeping, waking up, and leaving again, or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
Hanging out in your garage or something. Yeah,
did that a little bit too.
Yeah.
And so, and then it just got to a point where, you know.
So was the time you overdosed? Was that the time when you woke you up to go to treatment?
Well, that was December 29th. That was the day before my birthday, 2019, and my sobriety date isn't for another 4.5 months.
Oh, wow.
So what that did was it got me not doing heroin.
Yeah.
For 2 months.
Oh, really?
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Overdosing in the bathroom and coming to the wife just beating the shit out of me and, you know, getting her off of me and getting pissed off and seeing my daughter stand in the hallway as I'm standing there naked, just come to, right? Like, I mean, that was once again just brought on more shame.
Yeah.
More, fuck you guys, I'm getting out of here. Like, I don't want to deal with this shit. Right.
Yeah.
And you know what that did is that scared the shit out of me. It's the first time I ever overdosed on anything in my whole life.
Right.
Right. And so that put the fear of, fuck, maybe I should quit using heroin. You know, can't overdose on meth.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't overdose on meth. And so, you know, I quit doing heroin for a couple months after that. But then it got right back to the same point of why I introduced heroin in the first place was it didn't matter how much meth I was shooting up or not, like just not getting high anymore.
Yeah.
And it wasn't from lack of trying or not enough. Like I was doing plenty, just not getting high anymore.
Oh.
Well, in the having the want to feel something, right? Well, just put a little heroin in there with it, and now I felt something at least when I take a shot or whatever, you know. But yeah, that wasn't enough to sober me up. I still wasn't ready after that.
How did you get ready? Like, what was the spiritual experience that got you ready? I mean, when I say spiritual, something must have happened. Like, why? How did you go to treatment?
I knew I was on the verge of losing my house. Like, I hadn't made a house payment in a year.
Right.
Thank God it was COVID, right? And you could kind of get away. I mean,
yeah,
I eventually still had to pay that stuff back,
right?
You know, but
right.
Knowing that I couldn't lose my house, I was on the verge of losing my house.
Yeah.
You know, and on the verge of losing everything.
Yeah.
House, cars. I'd already lost family, everything. And it just.
Did your wife come to you? Like, who's the one that came to you and said, "Hey, I got you lined up at"?
Oh, dude, there was family meetings, you know,
okay,
borderline interventions and stuff along the way, and I just wasn't freaking ready.
Yeah,
like, I wasn't ready. And then one day, I just realized, like, you know, I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm 150 pounds or whatever, and just a walking skeleton. No soul, no nothing, right? Broken mentally, physically, spiritually, like just a lost soul.
Wow.
And I was just done. I was done. I told the wife, you find a place, I'll go tomorrow. Right? And she found a place, and so sure as shit, all right, we'll go tomorrow. You know,
did you go to detox or anything?
No.
Was it rough? Did you sleep the first day? So you went to Pinnacle?
Went to Pinnacle, you know, and we woke up that morning, did my last shot, bro. Told the wife, get in the truck, let's go. Like, I'm ready, let's go. Drove down to Pinnacle, pulled in those gates, and I just knew I was ready.
Yeah.
Right. And I had committed to the wife and to the kids and stuff. I'll go do 30 days inpatient. Right. And I knew that when I drove in those gates to Pinnacle, like, that I was going to buy in to whatever the hell they were selling, because what I was doing wasn't working.
Right.
And I can't quit by myself. So I'm going to try whatever the hell these guys are selling wholeheartedly for 30 days and see how it works.
Yes.
Right. And so obviously withdrawals from meth or whatever, just sleep. Right.
And depressed.
I was excited, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been depressed for months and months and
Yeah.
months before that. So I was excited at the thought of getting better.
Yeah.
Getting better. Right. And then we go into Pinnacle or whatever. And I think I overslept. I think they meet down there like 8:00 in the morning for group. And I think I finally woke up and went down there like 8:30 or something. And, you know, that was the only group or anything to do for those 30 days that I was late.
Yeah.
Or didn't participate 100% in, you know. And I've always been kind of a quiet, sit in the back, listen to everything, but never really say much.
Right.
Like I was ready for change, ready to try different stuff. And so, like, I made a commitment to myself of sharing in every group, every meeting, every class, or whatever. It doesn't have to be a lot, right? But just opening up and seeing what happens. And, you know, even though by day 3, right, like I felt like I'd pulled my head out of my ass and I was ready to go home, right? Like I was done with meth.
Yeah.
The hatred towards the drug was back. That
Right.
same hatred that got me 10 years, 7 years, 6 years
Yeah.
without doing it. Like I was back to that, but I also knew like there's no way in hell my wife and my kids are letting me home
Yeah.
after 3 days.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, I stayed in there 30 days and bought in wholeheartedly for 30 days, you know, and come out a much better human being
Yeah.
due to it.
Bro, I can see why recovery means so much to you now. I've heard your story before, but I got a different piece of it now
Right.
because of like hearing about like the 90s and the whole going through it like this. Like
Right.
I can see why it means so much to you now, bro.
And it's
Like
just,
that's a wild ride, you know, especially that last one with your kids and stuff. Like this is real.
I don't
You know
have
what mean?
another start over in me.
Yeah.
I don't have another start over. Right. Not only like financially and physical things, house, like I don't want to.
Yeah.
Dude, we're not spring chickens anymore, right? Like I could start over in my 20s and maybe even in my 30s.
Yeah.
46 now.
Yeah.
Like just don't want to do it. Now it's looking to the future of God, I need to do something to where I don't have to work the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Hence why I, you know, love the job that I have and have a job that if I put in the next 20 good years, like I'll still be able to retire pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Well, all right, I've kind of donked off and not been responsible up until now. So now it's my turn to
Yeah.
put in the work for 20 years to where I don't have to work the rest of my life, you know? And it's just, yeah, I mean, and life is good, right?
Yeah.
My kids are awesome. My
Yeah.
wife's cool. Like, I want to be around for as long as I can.
Yeah.
I want to be around to, hell, maybe coach some more football, the
Yeah.
grandkids or something.
Yeah.
So like, granddad used to be quarterback. Like, let's go out in the backyard and throw or whatever,
Yeah.
you know? Right now, you know, the youngest boy hits the gym 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Right. And I've been going to the gym with him quite a bit. The workouts, I mean, they're easier than these. So I've
Yeah.
almost taken a liking to some of those.
Yeah.
Right. At
Right.
46, I'm not as beat up after a
Right.
workout, but it's really trying to spend time with him, as much time as I can with him, because, you know, he's getting ready to go off to basic in September. And it's,
Jordan, huh? Wow. That'll be it. So what Marines?
no, he's Air National Guard
Oh,
reserves,
nice.
you know,
Good for him.
and it's just cool watching him grow and stuff. And by golly, I want to be around as long as I can.
Yeah.
My kids have turned into cool ass adults, you know, like I want to be around. I just want to be around. And so now it's, how do we fight off Father Time?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Eat a lot less pizza than I used to, you know, just the
Yeah.
progress, not perfection. Right?
Right.
It's, I need to start taking care of myself all the way around,
Yeah.
whether it be nutrition, physical, hell, even knowledge. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, bro. Like, well, and also the experiences that you've gone through from a kid to now and getting 5 years sober, like just how useful you are to help others with this disease and even kids,
right.
you know, because of the experiences you've been through. Like anyone can walk up to you and you're not going to judge them or you're going to be able to relate.
Right.
You know, so I like that. It's all these experiences help us. They now have a purpose. Oh, I know why I needed to go through all that.
Right.
As hard as it was, but like now where I'm at now, like, I mean, are you thankful that are you thankful for the disease, the addiction, all the experiences you've had to go through with it?
I'm thankful for who I am today.
Yeah. But
right. I mean, looking back, do I wish I didn't have to go through all that stuff?
yeah,
I wish for an easier life than what I've had.
yeah,
Right. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't
Right.
want to be in a little better place or not have to, you know, put his family through so much shit or whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, I know there's nothing we can do about our past.
Yeah.
There's absolutely zero that we can do about our past.
Yeah.
Right. And where I'm kind of blessed and thankful, like I choose not to harp on my past.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I know we've talked about this
steps,
70 times or whatever.
Yeah.
Why I don't care to do the steps is I don't care to sit down and do a step 4.
Yeah.
I don't care to sit down and read. I haven't forgotten any of that.
Yeah.
And so if I come across someone tomorrow that I've wronged, well, remember what my number one goal in life is, to become a better human being, making that amends
will just naturally happen without you having to like work.
Seek it out or, having that in the back of my mind. Well, I still got 17 people that I need to make an amends with, and I can't move on until that's like, no, that shit will happen in time.
I agree.
God will present an opportunity for me to hopefully make it right with everyone that I've wronged at some point.
Yeah. You don't have a problem with the steps. You just have a problem with being too structured with the steps. Like you just want it to unfold because you know the steps better than anybody. You know the book because all the groups we've sat in, but like you,
I still read the book at home,
and you live it. Like, but you just don't want to like, okay, it's time. And I think I'm a lot like that,
And you know what sucks? I sat down to do them, found a cool sponsor, and was doing them. And then get hired at the railroad and go out to Omaha for a couple of weeks and just not being able to get with the sponsor to pick up where we left off. Like I'm a little mad that I didn't get through them and finish them.
Right.
Because I'm not, I wanted to do them. They can't hurt.
Yeah.
In fact, like steps can help anybody.
Yeah.
Addict or not.
Right.
Like you said, I love the principles. Yeah. I love
the big book.
Almost any and everything about the steps.
Yeah.
I just personally don't care to sit down and relive, people that I've wronged or all the bad that I've done or what.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, like I just like to look at it as, dude, that's the past. There's nothing I can do about my past. I'm not going to harp about the past. I'm not going to beat myself up because it does me no good.
Yeah.
That just holds me back. The only thing that I have control over is today.
Yeah.
Right. And setting myself up for a good tomorrow. And that's what I choose to focus on more than
and within that present moment protection, which is what you're saying, God's going to present you with opportunities to make your wrongs into rights.
Yeah.
And it's that simple.
Yep.
So you just needed to be, I like that. You just needed to be simpler. And that's basically the steps. And then from that right there, you're going right to step 12 and carrying the message, going to meetings, coming here with the newcomers, getting on here with me, all the people, you know what I'm saying? So
step 12 is awesome.
So you're doing the steps.
Yeah.
You do your nightly or your talk about the program you do with your
My morning routine.
your morning routine, but also what's the step 10 version of the way you do it? It's, remember, you make your committed action and then also your towards and aways. Talk about that.
It's been a minute since I've done the nightly wrap up stuff. It's just,
I mean, that's a beautiful thing though.
I liked it, and it's a good way to kind of, so what it is, I mean, obviously morning routine, right? Wake up, 3 things that I'm grateful for.
Right.
And like my advice on those is because they can get monotonous.
Yeah.
Right? They can. It's pretty easy when I just look at yesterday. It's pretty easy to come up with 3 things that I'm grateful for from yesterday.
Right.
Right. Rather than sitting down and just trying to, on a whim, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Same things come up often, right?
Right.
Warm house, hot water, comfortable bed, or whatever. Right. Well, when I look back at yesterday, it's pretty easy to come up with 3 new and different things.
And more meaningful.
Right. Then I follow that up with 10, 12 minutes of meditation, right? Just to simply for 10 minutes or whatever, not do anything.
And you don't think. Are you sitting there with your eyes closed, or
Yeah.
how are you doing it?
What it was presented to me, like I try to sit like I'm a prince, right?
Prince?
So, yeah. You know, a prince isn't going to meditate like this. And just whatever. Like I was just told, good posture. So most of the time it's on my bed, right? And I'll sit on a pillow because my lower back or whatever. But I'll sit on a pillow, standing upright, legs crossed, and then just hands on my knees.
Right.
Right. And then I typically just YouTube some morning guided meditation. Right. And then it's just a way for me to get present, to get grounded and get present.
Right.
For 10 minutes. For 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes a day,
Yeah.
And then after that, I'll write down a committed action, right? Something that's obtainable today towards either my recovery or my responsibilities.
Yeah.
Right? Today, committed action. Do the Man in the Back podcast with Dustin.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely something towards my recovery.
Right.
Right? This is going to help not only me be vulnerable, which I believe helps me grow, right?
Yeah.
And then throw it out there. And if someone can relate and, I can help anyone. I mean, that's why I do this, right?
Yeah.
This isn't fun.
Right.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Bullshitting with a friend.
Right.
But at the same time, like nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Hands are a little sweaty.
Yeah.
It's not fun by any means, but at the same time, like, I'm not really doing this for me.
Yeah.
Doing it for that step 12, that service.
Yeah.
Throwing something out there that hopefully can help someone else.
Being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate because that was heavy.
Yeah.
The stuff that you said was heavy, and it probably cut you a little bit deep having to bring that up. But
It's been a minute since I've thought about some of it,
yeah.
but it is what it is. It's part of me. I've moved past it. Still my kid, Jordan, he's a witty guy, right?
Yeah.
And he'll still poke fun every once in a while, and I accept that.
Yeah.
Like he has the right to that.
Yeah.
It's never in like a hurtful way or anything like that, but I just take it as it's a reminder.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get mad that he's bringing up when I was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's a reminder.
Right.
So yeah, that's my morning routine. And then the nightly wrap up, which I've gotten away from just
Because you're tired.
due to time and stuff like that. But I love the nightly wrap ups, right? So the nightly wrap up, you would get together. We got together as a group or whatever. You do it by yourself too, obviously.
Right.
But then you look at your committed action, and it's did you complete your committed action?
Right.
Well, obviously. So if I do a nightly wrap up tonight, I'll look back and yes, I did complete my committed action. But then you have towards and aways, right? Towards and aways are either things that you've done for or things that harm you or bad things that you've done throughout the day.
Towards your recovery or away from your recovery, right?
So toward recovery already today, right, would be a great conversation with the wife this morning.
Right.
Doing the morning routine, showing up, doing this podcast. Luckily, it's early in the day, and I can't say that I've had it in a way.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe, the wife got some new mats or something from Amazon this morning, and I was a little short with her on, I don't really like that color. Right. I mean, but it's something like that would be an away, and it's toward or away what, right? Like, so the being short with a wife would be, it's an away from a relationship or, my spousal duties.
Right.
Or whatever. Right. And so it's just a good way. And, 9 times out of 10, you take the aways that you have. Well, that's typically something that you need to work on.
Yeah. Character defect.
Yeah. And so that's, sometimes those aways can lead into tomorrow's committed action.
Yeah.
Right. If I was short with the wife and I was short with the kids, come tomorrow when I sit down to do my committed action, I look at those aways from yesterday. I was like, do something nice for the family.
Yeah.
It could be my committed action.
Yeah. I like
because
that, bro.
that's where I fell short yesterday. So why put it off? And I want to make it better, make amends for it, or,
Yeah.
you know, so
And what better way to make an amends by fixing it?
the next day,
Yeah.
soon,
Action.
action.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, it's another way of talking about step 10, and it breaks it down. I mean, you know, my nightly wrap up is just in prayer. It's I'll either kneel. So the house is quiet. Everybody's kind of down. I'll kneel in the stairwell. My dogs are kind of up, and I just sit there and just chill. So picture it being completely black in the house. I got the alarm set, and then I'll talk to God and meditate. Like I don't just sit there and say like a prayer that's like I'll talk for a minute to him, and then I'll sit there and think about things and pet the dogs, and and then just keep kind of working with God like that, and then a lot of gratitude, and then a lot of prayer for my wife and kids. One thing that I do that's bad, that's unbelievable, that I love is I'll go to my little boy, 7-year-old, and I'll go and I'll be like, and the TV's on and everything, whatever, right? I'll just be like, hey, bro, let's have a prayer. And so I'll just get closer and I'll be like, Heavenly Father, dude, thank you for Wiley. He's such a stud. And I'll build my son up through the prayer. Like, I'm so Wiley, please help Wiley to keep doing good in school, and let him know that if Wiley's scared throughout the day, that he can talk to you. So I kind of coach
That's cool.
the kid through a prayer. You know what I'm saying? Well, and then in the name of Jesus Christ, amen,
Right.
But I don't make it this big thing. Let's turn the TV off and make it all
Right.
but that's been a big, having something like that with my kids, you know what I mean? And I did that with my other kid, having her, in Autumn will be there. And if the kids are all around, like if we're all around, and I'll get the feeling of like, let's have a family prayer. And then I'll be like, hey, let's do a prayer. You know what I mean? And we'll just have a family prayer, and I'll say it or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Might be some stuff you want to try. Like if your family, where the whole prayer thing, bro, I just want you guys to get it in your head that it doesn't matter what you say.
Right.
Just let it come out.
Right.
Let it roll, like, and the way you're living now, like God will give you the words. Like it could be just short and sweet. Like, dude, just thankful for Jordan, and, just rattle on in your gratitude.
Right.
Man, you'll probably start crying.
Chances are.
I don't know, just some ideas. The prayer stuff for me, we talked about at the beginning, is a big deal.
Right.
I like seeking after prayer, like in like scenery. You know what I mean? You've heard me talk about that,
Yeah.
like having the out loud prayer. That's been prayer's a big part of my life, and I'm on my kids about it. I want them to know about prayer, because how many times are you just afraid? And the coping skill of my kids to know that they could just kind of go isolate for a minute and talk to God about it. Like
Right.
what a coping skill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about religion.
Right.
I'm just talking about like stepping away and knowing that you got a higher power that's going to help you, and believe in that, and then stepping back into that. I mean, that's might be the best positive affirmation on the planet. And if you want to look at it in a positive affirmation way,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's just another tool to help.
Yeah.
Too. Right.
Yeah, bro. But
That's sick.
I'm thankful for you, man. I really am. And I want you to know that, because you've helped me, and you've helped me because of the way you appreciate life.
Right.
There's another thing I listen, bro. I hope you know that. But another thing you said to me like a long time ago, when you first got it over here, you're like, Hawk, I noticed that you're really good at like going and doing the hard things. Like like going and working out and hiking to a mountain and going for jogs. He's like, but I noticed that you struggle doing the things that you should enjoy.
Right.
And that's spot on.
The fishing, the golf,
The fishing.
skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, and you repeatedly say, like, don't know how to go do these things without substance.
Yeah.
I thought golf would be boring as hell without a cocktail,
Yeah.
right? Or without a bowl or something. I'm not any better at it, but it's more enjoyable.
Right.
Like, I get out there and it's not just about hitting the small ball around. Like, dude, I'm hearing the wind blow through the trees. You know, I'm out there with good friends and stuff, friendly competition, you know, sometimes, and just out there. Like, there's a lot worse things that we can be doing.
You
Like,
enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, my handicap went up 4 points last year in the wrong direction, but dude, it's still fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know, of course I realize I'm not good enough to get mad, and that helps,
Yeah.
you know? So when I hit them off at, you know, into the rough on the right or the trees to the right, like I do often,
Right.
I'm not good enough to get mad. Like, next shot, you know? And
Yeah.
it's just being out there and, you know, not taking for granted that not everyone can do those things, whether it be financially or the means to, or even know about them, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just, it's fun being out and doing those things. Like, yeah, and I still remember the first time coming here. First time, right? So it was the last time at the old place.
Yeah.
And I'm in the gym and I'm intimidated as hell. Everyone's throwing around weights. Like, I mean, I lifted weights, but it was squat, curls, and bench press before this, right? And so over there, and Frank's kind of showing me a thing or two or whatever, but the gym part was over, and then we walk across the street to the churchyard.
I remember that.
Right? And there's 12, 13 of us over there or whatever, right? And I can't remember who opened up the meeting or whatever, but 10 minutes into the meeting, you look at me and you're just like, who are you and why are you here? Right?
Yeah.
Shit. Like, I don't know any of these people or whatever, but yeah, I just kind of opened up, shared a little bit about why I was here and what brought me there. And I remember you coming up after the meeting and like, and I saw you a couple times in the gym. Like, I didn't know if you wanted to fight me or what, you know, that thing.
Yeah.
And you're just looking at form and stuff, head cocked, just staring. Like, I'm like, this dude's eyeballing. Like he does not like me or whatever, but it's just you checking out form.
Right.
And there's a lot to check out with my form. I get it. Right. But I remember you coming up to me after that meeting and you're like, dude, I want you here. Like, you coming back Wednesday or whatever, like you are a good fit for here. And, you know, that was comforting.
Yeah.
And then coming back and then just getting to know you over the next couple months or
remember
whatever.
when we
like,
put the sound system in?
Yeah.
That day, like, I'll never forget that. We knew each other pretty good. Not really, though.
Right.
When your buddy came over and put that in, like, I remember that.
But it's one of the things where I think you and I click and still continue to click because in a way we're so different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I would be exhausted if my mind worked as hard as yours does, like on a daily basis. Right. And I'm so laid back and don't like think about things very often or whatever.
Right.
But I think that, you know, it's good for each other. I can bring you down a couple notches while you can keep me going a couple notches. Right. And I'm not saying that I get laid back and stagnant or what, but like, you won't allow that either. Right. And so, we've clicked since early on, dude. And I love you. Yeah. I love you know, as a brother.
Love
like,
you too, bro.
Even watching you go through the stuff that you've gone through, like I'm so glad. And I've told you this numerous times, like, this place is a much better place with you in it.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
And it's so good to see you back here and striving and doing more even. Right. Getting back in. I kind of see that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That I recall early on in recovery and still have. Right. Still have. And so, you know, I commend you on getting back on the horse, getting to it, because the alternative is not good.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
And so, you know, I've said a couple of times and will continue to say that, yeah, relapse doesn't have to be a part, but if it is, you know what? You had something that got you to
Right.
7-8 years
Right.
just before this. You pick up right where you left off in recovery too.
Yeah.
Right. We always hear the saying, you pick up where you left off in addiction, which is true in my case, right? By day 4, I was as bad as I was the last 10 years prior.
Right.
Well, me being the positive perception, positive, I'm going to give you a positive spin on everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you relapse. So fucking what? Like you had something that got you to 8 years. Draw on that, and then keep adding to this, and you're just gonna be that much better.
Yeah.
You know. And so I'm jazzed to see you back. I'm jazzed.
I appreciate
You
that.
know, this place is much better with you in it, and I love seeing you in it.
Thank you, bro. And I want you to know too that it wouldn't be going. I don't think it'd be going as good as it went. And when I was gone, as if it wasn't for you, you know, and these guys stepping in. And I mean, I was pretty much gone for what, 6 months,
Right.
5 months. And
We'll see what
This
happens
place
when you
kept-
surround yourself with good people.
yeah,
Right. And
like-
people that want, you know, that have this place best interests at heart.
right.
You know, and you know, some of those people were put in some difficult situations of having to make a decision of what's best for this place
Yeah.
by, you know,
Yeah.
not letting you around for a moment in time.
Right.
But it's like understandably so,
Yeah.
right? Looking out for what's best for this and hopefully lighting a fire under your ass
Yeah.
to get back to where you need to be a part of this place.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you started this place and everything, like you're the face of SOAR,
Right.
right? And so we love having you around here,
Yeah.
you know.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on. Love you, man. Good.
Fuck yeah,
Solid.
that was sick.
You
All
got
right,
anything to say at the end?
I don't know, not anything particular. I was just really soaking that up. That was really cool hearing your whole
Yeah.
go, bro.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
the bet.
lot.
Like that was a cool part of the way I see something. I see a different side of your life. Like, I don't know how to say what I'm saying, but like I can see why you are the way you are with the gratitude that you carry around because of that was pretty gnarly.
Right.
You
I've
know?
had some dark times, right? Been through some shit, been homeless, lived out of storage sheds. Like, so where I'm at today, I mean, would I like an updated kitchen and a better looking bathroom and new carpet upstairs, you know, because it's all ripped up from the dog? Sure. But fuck, dude, I've been a hell of a lot worse. Like, I'm pretty goddamn happy with what I have today. You know,
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy. Truck I might lose my rear end on the way home. Give a fuck, it's still running right now. You know, so
That last thing I want to say is I'll never forget one of the things we were talking about. We were going back and forth about like me being in my head, and he was he's like, dude, when I'm driving home, I'm looking at people's yards. I'm looking at people's fences. Oh, they got that in their backyard. Like, and I was like, so then I was like, he really does that. Cause I don't do that. Like I'll get home and don't even know how I got home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, and so I was like, that is, you know, you talk about me and you being completely different. So now when I'm driving home, like, I started trying to do that. I was like, oh, look at Fred's yard. His yard's really coming along. Oh, look at, you know what I mean?
Hella funny.
didn't half the time I drive, the radio is not even on. Like, you know, I could be driving for 20 minutes and haven't even connected Pandora or whatever because I'm just freaking looking. And it bugs the wife because I probably should pay attention to the road more often. Pretty good driver too. Like, I know how to stay in my lane and still observe. You know, it's just
So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Good stuff, bro. Love you, man.
love you stuff.
Thanks for
yeah.
coming.
All right.